Alright, yeah, here's our Game of the Year video for 2015, except this is safety theme, so it's the GingerSwitch Health and Safety Guide 2015 edition. And here's our mascot.
Just get that wrist strap on your keyboard.
Yeah, get your helmet on, your special ed helmet.
Yeah.
Our
styrofoam helmet.
Our mascot here is like a combination of the guy that's in the Nintendo manuals and the Sad Onion character on the back of most consumer products. Here are the categories, though. Most Dangerous Game Award for Best Game of the Year. Here's our problematic picks for Game of the Year runner-ups. It's 2015, people. Come on. Award for Worst Game of the Year.
What is 2015?
Yeah, it's 2015. People.
Right now.
Right now.
Safest translation for worst localization. Somehow.
Yield center lane to opposing traffic award. I don't know why. That's for worst remake remaster, but I couldn't think of anything.
Personal protective equipment for most disappointing game.
Take a break every 15 minutes award for worst technical failure.
Trespassers will be shot on sight for most mysteriously acclaimed game.
The Duck and Cover Award for most pointless and forgettable game. And here it is, the Duck and Cover Award. What could it be?
It's a real classic.
Most pointless piece of garbage. Oh my god, it's Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival on the Wii U. The absolute definition of Neo Nintendo. If you didn't think Neo Nintendo existed, then you best see this game. This is a completely, in a nutshell, represents everything wrong with Nintendo in the post Wii U era. This is a pointless mini-game collection slapped together with Amiibo crap and all the newest Animal Crossing bullshit just to be the cherry on the cake. And you put this game in, and it's watered down Mario Party that requires Amiibos.
Well, by nature. See, the thing is, by nature, Amiibos need some kind of functionality in a game. And I'm 99% sure that they created this because they wanted to make Animal Crossing Amiibos.
Yeah. Didn't they reveal that? Then the developer said we made it just to trick Nintendo into making Animal Crossing. Yeah. On the Wikipedia article for this, one of the devs said that they made this game just to con Nintendo into making Animal Crossing Amiibos.
Yeah.
God, it's disgusting.
And originally it was just going to be with cards with Amiibo chips in them.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to that. I haven't seen anything like that
I think
show up. So.
Maybe we might be past this era. I think maybe. I think Nintendo is really changing their mind with NX and all that. Trespassers will be shot on sight.
Yeah, you are not allowed to dislike this game.
This fan base came out of nowhere overnight.
It is a masterpiece. It is
Undertale.
Yeah. Mother is good, and you're not allowed to dislike Mother.
That's Earthbound.
And likewise.
That's Earthbound for us Baka Gaijins.
Mother 3 is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because this is this is one of the better Mother 3 ripoffs I've played.
There's a lot more after this that came out.
It just nails everything that the original was trying for.
I said after this came out that there would be a whole bunch more ripoffs, like Mother/Earthbound games coming out, and there is now.
Because, I like to call the series Mother because it's there's 3 games and 2 of them are Mother.
It's confusing.
It's just, yeah.
I just don't know if everyone's going to know what we're talking about.
Now there's Undertale, and there's Lisa.
Yeah.
And there's
Yick.
Yeah. There's Y2K. Yeah. Yeek in other terms.
Yeah, they're just leeching onto it to kill the genre right quick, and this is gonna suck.
But Undertale is good. It's very effective.
The Earthbound audience and the Undertale audience, those fan bases just conflated together.
I know.
All of a sudden, I can't separate them anymore.
Yeah.
I can't find a
When
place
you,
to discuss Earthbound anymore.
For those who don't know, if you go on the Miiverse stage in Smash Brothers,
yeah.
It'll be full of Undertale crap.
Ugh.
If you're playing as Ness.
Okay, so here's the Take a Break Every 15 Minutes award for worst technical failure. Absolutely, it has to be Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5.
Yeah. This is the Fantastic Four of video games.
I love when a series is like, we're coming back, and we're calling it a sequel to the old games. This is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. This isn't some gimmicky shit. We're going right back to the old days, and we're completely ruining it. It's designed to be this always online monstrosity that when you play it online, the frame rate drops to shit. So its only redeeming thing, the online multiplayer, barely works, and they ruin the physics. Now, when you press triangle, which used to be the grind button, the character does a slam where they become really heavy and slam into the ground.
Yeah.
It's the same button as grinding. So,
and this is in a game with broken physics in the first place.
Yeah, so you're constantly going to be screwing up grinding and slamming. And not only that, the game is it's so ugly. It looks like it came out about 10 years ago.
But ugly.
It is ugly as hell. And there's just something about the audacity they had calling it Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 that makes me especially hate it. Kind of like how I have a special hatred for Sonic 2006. They called it Sonic the Hedgehog.
It should also be stated that the majority of the game was developed in the span between when it went gold and the day one patch. And the day one patch ended up being like 9 gigabytes or something.
Here's the most disappointing game. Oh, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. I've never been more disappointed by a game. I couldn't even make a video about it. I just couldn't. It was so... I'm still upset.
Oh, well. My condolences.
It's not complete. They fired Kojima before he could finish it. There's no last boss. There's no story. There's no nothing. I go back and I watch the original, like the 2013 E3 trailer, and it's more fun than the game to watch that trailer. And I played it for about 400 hours, and I don't ever want to go back though. I don't have any feelings for it. I don't have any memories. It's just this boring nonsense. It's completely murdered by the open world meme. Ugh. Like when I beat this game, I hid the box for a long time. I didn't want to see it. I was so upset.
Oh my god.
Oh god. They just didn't... To put it mildly, there's a certain point in Metal Gear Solid 5 where you can tell, like you're dropping off a cliff, where, okay, this is where, before this point, they were making the game. After this point, they were finishing up the game. You hit a certain point where you can tell that Konami told Kojima finish it, and he just had to wrap it up, and it's just a complete disaster.
Yeah, that happens a lot these days.
Yield center lane to opposing traffic award for the worst remake remaster. This one is especially hilarious for a number of reasons. Okay, so there was a remaster, I should say, a HD remaster of Final Fantasy X for the PS3 that was fine. But then when they ported that to the PS4, so they remastered the remaster, they completely screwed it up. That's exactly why this is the worst remaster, because they had no excuse whatsoever. This game shipped without the random number generator, and the battle music would not, like, when you went into a battle, it wouldn't remember where the music was. So when you came out of the battle, the music had to restart. And this adds absolutely nothing over the PS3 version, I think, other than the Japanese voice acting, I think.
Now, I'm not quite clear on this. Did they, when they shipped it without the RNG, Does that mean that every enemy appears after the same number of steps? Or
every random encounter, random encounter
Yeah.
is exactly predictable. Within a certain amount of steps, every enemy does the same amount of damage
Yeah.
all the time. Critical hits happen at the exact same time all the time. There's no element of randomness in any of the battles
Yeah.
in an RPG.
Basically, they fucked up. Like there must have been one RNG number that the game calls, and they must have fucked it up so
Yeah.
it just goes up linearly instead of randomized.
They never had it in that
Yeah.
game. So here's the safest translation for the worst translation. Xenoblade Chronicles X.
There are a lot of troubling things that they had to remove from the game.
They removed the boob size slider for female characters in this. So you can't, like,
I just find
no
it
one got
hilarious,
I don't know. I can't believe that female people in real life didn't get upset.
Yeah.
It just amazes me that wasn't. Like, you get upset about anything else, like a pin drop, people would freak out, but then no women cared about that. It seems something like that would be really a hot button issue, but because it's Japanese, it gets a pass or something. I don't know, but that's not actually what makes me hate this translation the most. What makes me hate it the most is the fact that they removed references to past games. So
Yeah.
Nintendo was trying to cover up the fact that it was a Xeno series game. So Xenoblade came out. They said, "Oh, this sold well," so they wanted to make a sequel, Xenoblade Chronicles X. They called it, but the Xenoblade Chronicles X team wanted to make a sequel to like Xenosaga. So it has tons of references to Xenosaga and Xenogears in it, but Nintendo doesn't acknowledge those games because they only want you to think of the Nintendo ones. So they scrubbed it all out. So in the North American release of Xenoblade Chronicles X, all the references to Xenosaga and Xenogears have been removed.
Yeah, that's why it's the safest translation.
Yeah, it's safe. They're playing it safe.
So safe.
And they ruined it for me because I knew everything that happened in Xenosaga and Xenogears, and the game is just worse because it doesn't have those in. Oh, and they changed dolls to skells.
Yeah.
The robots.
Well, dolls is problematic.
Oh, it's 2015, people. My God, come on, the current year. It's 2015, guys. Come on.
This is
Worst
a
game of the year.
very 2015 game right here.
What? The Order, 1886. Does anyone remember that? Like, this was supposed to be the PlayStation 4's killer app. This was... Do you realize this came out a few weeks before Bloodborne? It's a similar style and location, and just complete boredom fest. This is Boringborn, or Boredomborn, as they were calling it. It's a literal movie that's over in a few hours with recycled boss fights, where the last boss is a recycled first boss.
It's kind of like Uncharted without the jumping.
And without,
you can imagine that.
Without the fun. I don't know, it's just dumb. Like, and not only that, the critics didn't even like it either. And the Ready at Dawn, the developers of this game, I think were recently let go from Sony after this. Even Sony realized there was something wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, the bullshit the developers came up with to justify the frame rate and shit. Oh.
It's controversial too because it's one of those games that picks the worst spots to cut corners.
Yeah.
Like the final boss and major plot twists and stuff like that.
They just cut the gameplay just to make more of a movie, and it was a shitty movie anyway.
You don't send a movie to do a game's job.
No, this is just boring piece of garbage. I have no idea why they thought this was a good idea. But I do have an idea why it was so hyped up, because the original trailers looked cool that they had at E3. It looked visually interesting. But that's all it had.
Yeah.
And it came out.
That's why it has a camera mode in it.
It came out, and then everyone immediately put it in the dumpster and started playing Bloodborne, which came out just not too long afterwards.
Yeah, Bloodborne was a pretty good game, but for some reason we just never acknowledged it when we were making this video.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where it is. It's missing.
Yeah.
Kind of like at the actual VGA awards where Bloodborne was completely absent. Here's the problematic picks.
Here's my problematic pick.
For runner-up for Game of the Year.
Now, I like the Disgaea series. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but yeah, it's not my favorite thing in the world, but for some reason I ended up playing this one for maybe close to 400 hours. Because, like they say with this game, the grind is the game, in that it has a lot of post-game content. If you're willing to put in the time, you can have a lot of, like, it can be really satisfying. Like, you can deal billions of damage and all that. But this one, it's so refined. It turns the grinding into like a sort of even workflow. Like you always have something like on the foreseeable horizon that you can reach in a few hours or so. And like, just for an example, there are 4 ways to increase your stats. Through like equipment, grinding, stat increasing items, and something else. Reincarnation, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And you, like, each of those have like 10 million in every stat allocated towards them. Mm-hmm. So you reach one milestone, you have 10 million stats, and then the game's like, well, try 20 million now. Now you have now you have what you need to get 20 million. And then it just continues like that, and eventually, like, you're doing things that you had never thought you'd be willing to do in a game with so much grinding.
I just love the numbers. My favorite thing about this guy is
the
huge numbers
huge,
that go way off the screen. It's amazing. Okay, my problematic pick actually is Xenoblade Chronicles X for my Game of the Year runner-up. It came out really late in 2015. It's a weird game, and it doesn't play well as a sequel to the first Xenoblade. It's not really like the first Xenoblade at all. It's really different in that story takes a back seat to the gameplay in this, where it's like kind of the opposite in the first game. This game here, it has some of the best resource collecting and money getting mechanics I've ever seen, and I love huge inventories, and I love managing all sorts of things, and I love getting swamped in numbers and swamped in ways to upgrade stuff, and this game has it in spades. Like, you can upgrade equipment's battle traits, you can put augments on them, and you can, like, reinforce them with shit, and then you can donate money to a manufacturer so he can sell you different stuff that you can augment and upgrade, and and you have revenue that's always coming in based on research probes that you put in the environment, because the gameplay is tied very heavily to actually exploring a new planet. And this is one of the first games I've ever played that actually made me feel like I was exploring an alien world. Like, in that the exploration and the reconnaissance was the gameplay. That's why the whole world is divided up into hexagons, right?
Yeah.
So every hexagon has a certain level of reconnaissance, right? And that's based on everything that you can do in those hexagons.
Yeah.
So really what you're trying to do is explore the whole world. And the more you explore, the more revenue you're pulling in.
Yeah.
The more sponsorship you're doing of arms manufacturers, so the more weapons you can get, so the harder online missions you can do, and blah 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 blah. The story isn't that interesting, but it has enough twists to keep it moving. But I mean, the gameplay in that is really top notch, especially with the mechs. So the most dangerous game award. What is it? What do you think it is? What game could this be? I know this was ignored at the actual VGA awards in real life.
Just at the edge of my seat. Bloodborne.
It's Blood Boys. Of course it is.
It's that freaking Souls game.
Oh shit! What up? This was the best game of 2015. I think it was just. I don't like giving Game of the Year award nominations and awards themselves to games that are like so far into the series lifespan that it just has sequelitis. But this game, it feels like it's like its own thing. It doesn't really feel that much like a Souls game, but it is a Souls game. Mm-hmm. It's really refreshing for that reason. So that's why I was okay saying this was Game of the Year, and not Witcher 3 like every other gaming publication wanted to say that it was Witcher 3. It's Bloodborne, it's Game of the Year, deal with it.
It has a completely different setting this time, which I love. It's Lovecraftian.
I've never seen a game
Tolkien-esque.
I've never seen a game that was more in control of its tone and setting than Bloodborne. Everything is thematically linked to the tone of the world. Down right to the combat and how every enemy transforms. It's about transformation, sickness, disease, and aliens.
It might as well have been written by Lovecraft.
Yeah, it was like...
It's so terrifying.
And Sony handled the publication, I think, for this too. The publishing, sorry. And I think they did exactly everything correct. They didn't say anything about it before it came out. There was hardly knew anything before it came out. Now, if this was handled by Bandai Namco, everything would be leaked on Twitter and shit. Everything would be tongue-in-cheek. Everything would be prepare to die, lol. And this game had none of it. It was amazing. Like the game takes a thematic twist halfway through that I wasn't expecting at all. When I started playing it, and I love it for it. And this is the one Souls game where I missed the most on my first playthrough. So that's saying something.